You know what? This is really interesting. I was talking to my dentist. I was there yesterday getting the wire put on my
Yeah,
braces,
yeah.
and he's very chatty. My dentist is hilarious. So he's just going on about whatever random garbage, and he's like, "Yeah, did you hear about how there's a big uptick in cosmetic surgery lately?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't." And honestly, that's totally counterintuitive to me because I would think with all the limitations around dating and going out in public and like hosting parties and just all those like social gatherings with all those limitations, I would actually think people would be less inclined to do something like that. Not and that's ignoring like the sort of the increase in risk and exposure of being in like a medical facility, during these times. But then he's like, no, 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 it's all about Zoom meetings. And I was like, what? Why? He's like, yeah, apparently it's just like psychologically, it has to do with looking at your own face far more frequently, seeing all those imperfections, and wanting to fix
Oh,
them,
so you're checking your own camera feed and identifying.
and
Okay,
being way more
interesting.
self conscious of yourself, just like multiple times throughout the day. And
Jeez.
another angle on that that I also kind of thought of is if you are someone who is, not working. Like let's say you work in a field where you are like me, okay? Where video or pictures of you are taken every day. Let's say you're off work because you're like an actor or something and your productions are shut down. Hey, that's a perfect time to get a tune up. So it could be one of either things. Either because you're
Interesting.
not seeing people, you could go and, get some tweaks done, or because you're seeing people every day, you feel more self-conscious and you go get some tweaks done. And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, apparently it's been like a big thing. Like they're overrun, they're inundated." I'm like, "Wow. Oh, people, you so funny. You so
I
funny."
don't I don't think I will ever consider anything in that realm ever under any circumstance other than like being maimed.
You know what's funny? I would have said that at one point in time or another. And I had a conversation with, I'm not going to name them just because I don't know if they're like chill with their views on this being out in the public, but I had a conversation on a work trip. You know how like the deep conversations tend to happen on like those overnight crazy trips where nobody sleeps anyway?
Absolutely. Yep.
And I was brought around to the point where I would at least think about it. Because before I was like, hard no. And then I was like, I would at least consider this. And the argument was, you know what? What is the difference between what you've already done? Well, I've had dental work done, for example. It's not like I couldn't eat before. Like it was purely cosmetic. And they're like, what's the difference? If there's a relatively uninvasive thing that you can do to make yourself look and feel better, who cares? And I was
I
like,
just feel like
okay,
I'm just gonna embrace my oldness because I personally it's not none of it for me is like there's no like moral battle here. Like I don't think
right.
it's a bad thing to do. I don't look down on people that do it. I don't care at all. But it's just I for me personally, I find it less attractive. And I don't mean like, oh, I find you hot. I mean like just in general, I find it
Yeah.
less attractive when people try to hide like their aging or whatever else.
Ah, I
Like if
see.
someone's like balding and they like grow out a foot of hair on the back of their head and then
Right.
just like wrap it around the rest of their head, like that's I'm not into that personally. But if
Okay.
like my dad started balding, he was just like, okay, just shaved it all off. Like I think that's cooler in my opinion.
So
You're just like whatever.
that's your
I
angle.
embrace it.
That's your
Yeah, I
angle.
don't know. That's my thing, but then again, I don't push that on anyone else. So I probably wouldn't do it because I'm just not into it. But
So the line for this colleague that I don't want to name. The line for this
sure,
colleague was maintenance is chill, but like for them anyway. This was their personal opinion that I'm just kind of sharing with you guys. Their personal
sure.
opinion was maintenance is chill, but making like noticeable changes so
Like
that
becoming a different person.
yeah, like looking like a different person. They were like, yeah, I'm not that cool with that. Of course,
That
one of
makes
the reasons that everyone has such a different take on this is that everyone was born in a different body and
it's
has
so
a,
personal. Yeah.
yeah, it's so personal, 100% personal. So it's it's all fine and good for, someone who was happened to be born with the gift of amazing looks to say, yeah, I look down on cosmetic surgery. Anyone who
No
does it is
whichever. Yeah.
disgusting. By the
Yeah.
way, how do you like my, perfectly shaped breasts and pouty lips and, smoky eyes that I don't even, I happen to be born with black, lines along my eyes. I don't even need eyeliner. I look down on makeup, like it's very easy depending on how someone was born for them to, have a
Yeah,
different
definitely. If it's gonna
perspective.
like make, in my opinion, if it's gonna make a notable improvement in your life to like do whatever, just do it. Like I don't care at all. Just for me personally, I feel like I would be happier and more confident in myself if I just embraced whatever was going on.
Again,
So
you happen to be tall, blue-eyed, blonde,
my beard doesn't go in properly. Is there cosmetic surgery for like
oh,
thicker
100%.
beards?
Have you seen before and afters of Elon's head? Like,
That's true, actually.
because
I have seen that.
I posted just like a tongue-in-cheek, I posted a picture of Jeff Bezos on Twitter like a month or so ago or something like that. And I was like, the caption was scientific proof that every hair loss prevention like cure is a scam, because the richest man in the world, not anymore, the richest man in the world is, spear bald, right? And
I think
then
if you count all the money that his ex-wife currently holds, like if they didn't break up, I think he'd probably still be the richest man in the world.
and then a ton of the comments were like, actually, with before and afters of Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
And I was
Yeah.
like, I see. Actually, the cures look pretty good. It looks like as long as you've got a cool 100 billion or whatever he's worth these days, you can take care of that.
Someone knows how.
Yeah, real quick styles. Elon knows the way. It's like
Yeah.
he's solving the big problems the world has, like how to get to Mars and how to make sure that you can have a full head of hair as long as you got the money for it.
Yeah.
So there's a ton of comments about this topic. You guys are like super engaged on the topic.
I think
plastic
quite
surgery.
a few people like feel very personally about it.
That's interesting.
And like I think a lot of people also judge other people's actions here quite a bit.
Yeah, totally. So we've got people saying, I've had to get it. It's hard to figure out where to stop. There's always more to get. That's really interesting, because for me, as someone who's like only thought about it in kind of like a theoretical way, it's like, yeah, I could totally see how, just like anything, like getting into RC cars, for example. You get a starter car, you go out and like you rip it around one time, right? And you're like, oh man, I wish I had 4-wheel drive. Or, oh man, I wish I'd got the brushless motor. Or like, why didn't I spring for the LiPo battery? That's hey, lithium polymer. Lithium polymer is what I was talking about. Lithium polymer battery. It's a type of battery for RC cars. Okay, the point is, the first time you like go for a ride on the subway and you like get 10% more looks or whatever, I can see how something like that, the kind of endorphin hit you might get, might make you like inclined to go back and get one more thing or whatever else. Javier says, what about Botox for wrinkles? I don't know. For me personally, I've always looked like this when I smile. I went back and looked at a picture of myself when I was like 16, and like I've always been like this, so I really don't think there's any solution for it for me.
Yeah, you mentioned it like a couple of years ago, and I was like, what?
I
Because you're
definitely,
like, I'm old, I have crow's feet now. And I was like,
Yeah.
what are you talking
So,
about? You've always
it was, okay, they are a little heavier. Like, so even when I'm not really smiling that
Okay.
much, they're there now. And they kind of like, okay, they're pretty good. I'm doing okay, but
what would you do?
what would
This is
I
maybe
do?
a really personal question you don't have to answer, but like
Oh,
you said
man.
you've kind of vaguely thought about it. So like what have you vaguely thought
So
about?
for me, the biggest things, like I'm pretty comfortable in my own skin. The only things that I really do, I'll get, you know what? Fine. You know what? Screw it. Let's get real personal here. The only things I really do maintenance wise is like hair maintenance, including eyebrows. And that's after years of pressure from my wife. And also it's gotten worse. If I let it go, it really does start to connect these days. And I'm like, yeah, it's not that much effort. And once you pull them a few times, they start to come in less thick because you kind of kill the follicles by pulling them out repeatedly. And B, they don't hurt as much because they have like a looser grip. So it's really not that bad anymore. I went back and I got my teeth straightened. That was both a cosmetic concern and a practical concern though. So if you look, Yeah, there you go. They're quite like down there right here, and then they're kind of crowded here. So what happens when you get crowding like that is they're harder to clean, which makes it more likely for you to get cavities, which makes it more likely for you to, lose your front teeth. And for me, as someone who is a public figure, I don't consider losing my front teeth to be really an option.
Option.
It's
Yeah,
sort of part of appearing nice on camera. And
for sure.
I remember my mom explaining this to me when they spent money we didn't have to have my teeth corrected in the first place, because I used to have a fairly significant overbite. And I had the crowding before it was fixed before, but then it's over time, it's kind of gone back together. And my mom basically said, I'm making this investment in your personal appearance because straight teeth is about more than just looks. It's like an indicator of class, and it will give you more success in life. And I was like, whoa, mom, that is like some hardcore,
So that's deep.
that is like some hardcore stuff to be talking about. And like, that's kind of like a really weird reason to get braces for your kid. But it's it's also, I don't make the rules for how the world works. She's not wrong. And you know how parents tend to have an attitude that they want their kids to have opportunities that they didn't enjoy. And so
Yeah,
for her, this was one of those things that was like, no, you absolutely need to have straight teeth because people will judge you. They will judge so much about you based on your smile. And I had a very significant overbite, which combined with my already kind of large two front teeth, I look kind of like this. I can't even do it anymore because part of the correction was I used to have an overbite that was like this big. Like I kid you not, I could take the tops off of cans and stuff with my front teeth. I'd be like,
oh.
yeah, you shouldn't do that. Kids do
That
not do
probably
that.
wasn't good.
It's not a good idea. But like I could put my pinky finger in the gap between my bottom teeth and my front teeth, like all the way up there. Like I had a huge overbite. And so one of the things that I got was these bite blocks that slide your lower jaw forward. And it's been annoying because my teeth don't like they don't mesh up perfectly anymore. Like they kind of meet like this. And like it's weird because my jaw has been moved so much, like it kind of cracks sometimes and stuff. Like it's not like it's perfect, but it looks way better. Like my smile's not obviously way crooked and like hugely overbitten and stuff. um so yeah, teeth I would do, and I did. I'm just trying to think of like what else I could
I've
care
never
about.
personally, until literally this stream, I have
Yeah,
never counted teeth.
but they're the same thing.
For sure, I'm not against it. I'm just, it's not something I considered. I never thought of braces as like, because I had braces growing up too, and for
Yeah,
the parents, probably financial situations and reasons were kind of pretty in line. Like, didn't really have the money for it. But like, I know, I remember, I don't remember the conversation as vividly, but I remember some of the reasons being kind of similar. Like, this is
yeah,
going to be important later.
yeah.
We need to do it now. It's expensive, but we want to do it right.
It's an
Yada yada yada.
investment in like your future is kind of
Your
the way that
future.
mine
This
saw it.
is very important, and I hated it, and it bugged me like crazy.
That's
But
funny. I was super
they're like,
into it.
nope, you're doing it anyways.
I
Well, you
used to
just got
like
them now, right?
no, no,
Didn't
no,
you?
no. I got braces
Oh,
when I
okay.
was like I went oh, man, my first day of high school. I showed up with braces and fluorescent pink hair. It
Epic.
was
I
yeah,
didn't mind the braces from like a social standpoint thing. I didn't care about that. I found them annoying. And I think after
right.
quite a while of having them, I got much more used to it. But they were really annoying at first. I still have a bar behind my lower teeth. I actually love that because I scratch my tongue on it all the time. Theoretically, they're taking that out when I'm like 40 something, and I don't even want them to. It's probably going to be super weird.
You know what I think made me so enthusiastic about it? I told my mom and I told my orthodontist one thing. I said, "Please, no headgear." And they tried to talk me
Mm,
into it. They were like, well, what if you only had to wear it for so many days a week or so many hours a day or whatever? I was like, please, no headgear. They found a way to do it without headgear. And that made me extremely happy. And so I was just like, I was all in. Like I completed my appliances was what the things to slide my jaw forward. I completed them so much faster than they expected because they're like, yeah, crank the thing once a week. It was like to widen my palate and move my, so I had to widen my whole jaw. Actually, oh, I forgot about that part, right? I had to widen my jaw because I had no space. You can see I don't have enough
Jeez.
space here still. And they actually had to disc some of my teeth. Disking, even compared to the cavity drill, is the most unpleasant dental experience I have ever had in my life. And I've had
What is
my
that?
I've had my bottom wisdom teeth out. They take
We're so far off of tech
it
topics.
is it is exactly what it sounds like, Luke. They take
Like,
pretty much a Dremel
oh
and they
god, I was just gonna say
grind
trouble.
between your teeth. It's
What if
like
they slip?
it's the most terrifying, like bone
That's
chilling.
uncomfortable, and I don't think it'll ever happen to me. That's still so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And I did wisdom teeth out while I was
Oh.
awake, okay? And disking was worse. It was 20 years ago, Luke, and I still remember, I still get like the hair standing up on the back of my neck when I think about it. It's so disgusting. I hated
Oh my
it.
god.
Yeah,
That's
I
brutal.
don't know what else. Like I kind of embraced my giant nose at this point. I still remember having just the funniest conversation with my mom where I forget exactly how it went, but she basically said like, you know, I never noticed before, but you have a really big nose. And I was like, really? Because you never look at yourself from the side. And so I like, yeah,
That makes
I
sense.
like got my digital camera at the time and I like took a picture of myself
Sure.
from the side. I was like, wow, I have like a honking big nose. But I'm like, I'm into it. I'm okay with it. I call it a royal nose, you know? Like it's a regal nose, dominant nose.
Awesome.
I mean, it's the only thing
awesome.
on my body that's like, you know, big for my size, right? So I gotta stick with it, you know?
Oh no. Oh jeez.
You gotta enjoy the small victories, man.
The smart. Oh my goodness.
It's like if it was down to who had the biggest nose and the smaller nose gets voted off the island, I have a chance, you know?
Victory. Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always thought that I would like maybe fix things. I don't know. Like if I was in an accident or something and
Oh
like,
yeah. Yeah,
I
I
got all
would. I'd
busted
want to
up,
be
I would,
myself.
like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'd like to restore.
And okay, so
but-
on that note, then, okay, fine. Like it comes down to those kinds of like those philosophical, like those deep questions, those 3 a.m. questions, you know, like what age would you be if you were in heaven, man? Right? So like what is your true self?
Who
Is it
are
your
you?
yeah, is it your 18-year-old self, your 25-year-old self, your 36-year-old self? Who knows, right? So like what is yourself? So from that perspective, whether it's the ravages of a bike accident or whether it's the ravages of time, is it any
Yeah.
more or less wrong? I don't know. I'm not in a position to answer that question.
Okay, well, I think that's an individual thing. You got to answer that for yourself.
Yeah, I can't think of much else that I would change. I mean, my eyes are super uneven, which is something that I also mostly notice when I'm on like a cheap webcam because there tends to be a little bit more lens distortion, and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, right. Oh yeah, that's my ears are uneven too. They're off by like this much. Like it's quite substantial, and I think my eyes are too. So I have to kind of hold. If you look, okay, I'll go right in front of the camera here. So I have to hold my head at this angle for my eyes to be level. So you'll never be able to unsee it now.
Honestly, I can barely even tell.
I don't think you can
know.
really fix that. You'd have
I
to
don't
do
like
like
notice these things about people. Like I never
bone
really notice
movement.
if people's ears or eyes are off, or like if they like I didn't know that you had a big nose until you told me that you had a big nose. I don't even remember when that was, but like I know that you have a big nose still only now because I know that you've told me. Like I've never really visually noticed it. I don't know.
A really fun one. I remember
It's a
doing
fun
this
thing.
with like a friend years and years ago. Is you take a picture of yourself and then you copy paste like the mirror image of both of them, and everyone has a good side, 100%. Like one of
Yeah.
my sides, I was like, dang, and the other side, I was like, ew. Oh, we got
It's
people in
like
chat.
the side that you always want to like if you have to have a side profile like the one that you want. I don't
Yeah.
even remember what mine is, but I have one too. Yeah.
People are like, what is this stream even? I'm not
Who knows?
100% sure.